Zishan Iqbal. My bad.
Back in the car, clients done and dusted. Nice to start the week off nice and strong. Currently outside Full Circle with meal number 1. Always call into Full Circle with the shake because they have an ice machine out the back. They're doing all this Wim Hof stuff now, you know, like the Iceman and all that. So they have an ice machine, so I come along and nibble a few fucking cubes to stick in this, because if you're going to stick water in a shake, at least have it ice cold is the way I'm looking at it. They're in there having a meeting, so obviously my coffee's gonna have to wait, because if you're not new to the channel, you know I don't like paying for coffee at all. I'm not paying €4 or €5 for flavoured water, so I'm waiting for the coffee machine. But the coffee machine is in the meeting room and they're having a meeting, so I'm fucking sat here waiting for my espresso. But what's going on? Where the fuck have you been, Chris? Ultimately, it's laziness. Do you know what I mean? I ain't gonna sit here and go, oh, I needed a break off social media for my mental health, and it's none of that. I was just fucking lazy. A side point to that though is I always feel guilty about bringing out shit content. Really, really bad. And ultimately, I'm not really doing much these days, and I'm kind of, you know, I'm an online coach, so a lot of it's a desk job kind of thing, but ultimately I just I feel guilty bringing out shit content, especially when, you know, coming back from Madrid, Marbella, and, you know, you're gallivanting and it's really cool scenes, and now I'm back to Galway where it's the fucking sun barely shines. So but change in procedure. I think ultimately documenting the boring stuff and having a little bit of fun when the exciting stuff does come along is a better approach than doing absolutely fuck all and being lazy, because I do really like doing the vlog. So we're back in action. If it looks a bit different, we're filming on an iPhone, so we're going to see how that goes, because that was another issue I was having, is the point and shoot that I had was mobile, was, you know, small, but it wasn't small enough. You know what I mean? It is a bit clunky, you know, to just be bringing it around the place when I need it, and ultimately it was a bit wicky-wacky, I would say. So we're going to see how an iPhone goes. We got a new phone, so there's actually memory on this thing now, and the quality doesn't look like I'm filming off a fucking HD potato. So fingers crossed we can revive the vlogs, man. To be fair, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to sit back here. I'm going to have meal number 1. Which is I can whack up the macros in a few minutes here, give or take maybe like 50 odd grams of protein, give or take maybe 700-800 calories as a whole. And we're gonna go train. Like I said though, I am waiting for the coffee machine to become available. I'm after seeing a few people go in now, but I haven't seen a few people come out, which means the meeting is still on. So we'll touch base when we do some other bits.
You love me. You love me. You love me. You love me.
Coffees acquired in Apollo / Full Circle. It's so hard to change the name of that place to Full Circle. I know it as Apollo, and it's just, you know, when you're calling something for one way for so long and all of a sudden it changes name, yeah, it's going to take me a while to get used to the name change. Now we have a gym session on. We have a full body variation. We're going with a full body phase this time around, as I have a triathlon in approximately 2 weeks, of which I've been banging out training for the last 3 or 4 months. Getting back into triathlons again. It's the first time bringing it to the vlog because I have been fucking off it, but ultimately the decision to go and do a triathlon stemmed from the fact that I am training all the time with no real rhyme or reason to the training itself. Some people prep for a photo shoot, a bodybuilding competition, a powerlifting competition, but ultimately I'm just lifting weights for the sake of it. So triathlons is the approach that we're taking now, as you can see by the bike in the back. Actually, we did training there not so long ago, and the reason we're hitting full bodies is to increase frequency over the space of a week. The volume is taking a significant hit due to the fact that obviously if you're training on the bike and running and swimming, you know, there has to be some recovery phase in there as well. And at the full body, I just don't want to get small. I don't want to be a fucking stick thin endurance athlete after spending the last 10 years trying to bulk up. So we're trying to hold on to a lot of mass. Is it hurting my results on the triathlon? Probably. More muscle tissue requires more oxygen, and it's definitely hard. but I am we're good, we're happy enough. We are shrinking just a little bit, but we're making it work either way. So I'm gonna suck back this coffee, and then I'm gonna head inside, do a full body variation, and see what else happens. We got check-ins later on today with clients. We have maybe a Q&A or something to do, but either way, we'll catch you in a second.
Let's go.
Are you good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah. I'm after getting on that.
Are we looking good, like?
Yeah, you're looking savage, man. Back to Mumbai, back to Mumbai.
Oh, let me pop that fucking shoulder first. Back to the boy, eh?
Yeah, boy.
Wow.
Yeah, boy.
What's that muck Arthur pose?
Yeah. Killing it better than Arthur.
Back in the office, I'm about to do my check-ins with my clients. This is basically where we go over the data from the previous week. We take a look at their measurements, their pictures, their weight check-in, every single rep set, their any sort of habits we're trying to pick up, and just basically relay that back to them in a pre-recorded video. Basically run through their profile, look at their sleep, look at everything as a whole, relay the data back to them and kind of say, right, listen, you've done this well, you need some work in this area, and we definitely need to pick it up in this area moving forward into this week. And it's important for me to get it done on a Monday, as it highlights everything from the previous week, giving the information at the start of the week, as there's no point having this information towards Friday when you're probably going to go out and about, and then we can implement changes moving forward straight away. So about to crack on here, but usually takes around 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how much I dick around, and sometimes I fall into a YouTube video or something like that, but ultimately it's nice to get it done. So take a look at this guy, he's one of my clients, right? So his body weight, he's on his Kickstarter, so he's only at his early days. He started off here at around 78 and he had an initial drop in kilos, and now he's had a spike back up, and he's wondering, wait, what's going on, mate? Why am I gaining? I thought I was supposed to be losing fat. I'm in a deficit. Why is this happening? Now, if we come over and we look at his body measurements, specifically his waist, as obviously that's the area in which he wants to keep an eye on, we can see that his actual waist is down by a good bit. So even though his weight is fluctuating, his measurement around his midsection, which is obviously everyone's big concern, is continually dropping on the way down. So what's going on here is the fact that body weight as a whole has so many different variables that, you know, it can throw the measurements off, whether it be through hydration, water intake, your calories in, stress, lack of sleep, inflammation around the body. Like, there's so many different factors that are going to occur that can actually fuck up a consistent weight measurement. So it's not necessarily going to be this consistent spiral on the way down, and this is where a lot of people fuck up and actually give up on their journey, because they don't have the measurements to back up actually what's going on specifically around the body. And this is why taking measurements, if any of you lads are trying to actually put on size or even through a fat loss phase, if you are not taking measurements on a weekly basis, you're doing yourself such an injustice, because you're only getting fucking half the message. And ultimately, like I said there, if you just take your weight every week, even if that's at the same time, and first thing in the morning so I don't have any food in me, or whatever the fucking excuse is, it's still going to be all over the place. And ultimately, over time, again, yes, you can get a broader spectrum of a consistent, decreasing body weight over the space of a couple of months and all that. But if you're not taking measurements from around the body, you don't know what's growing or shrinking, or you have no idea. Because ultimately, like, we'll take a fat loss phase. Your goal is to drop body fat percentage. But it'd be nice if you could get big biceps and a chest in the background. So if you take your measurements and your chest is decreasing, because obviously you still have fat tissue around the chest. But if your chest is holding a lot of size, but slowly coming down, but your waist is completely sliding on the way down, that's a good sign. That means you're holding a lot of size in the area in which have a lot of muscle tissue. And in the case of your midsection, which, yes, there is a lot of muscle tissue, your abdominals, your obliques, but ultimately there's also a lot of fat that's going to accumulate there on most people. So just one for the tip, lads, something that I never did as a youth, and something I wish I did. Plus, being able to have this tracked, not in just like a random piece of paper, but a book that you can actually hold on to and be able to look back on. Because fuck me, man, me training at 14, 15 years of age, I'd have loved to have known how big my biceps were back then in comparison to now, because I still feel like I'm that small anyway. I feel like I haven't made any growth at all, even though in recent times I can actually see the data and actually check on it. But get that in your bones. That's a tip there for you that no one's even talking about these days. But these yolks are fucking wicked. If you're around Aldi, man, about 800 calories in these, man, they're absolutely legit. You've seen a little bit of the workout as well, actually. That was a full body variation. There's a couple of exercises missing from the videos, but ultimately I'm hitting the full body 3, sometimes 4 days a week, programmed in 3. I do like to hit a weekend session if I can, and more so just to preserve the muscle tissue that I've been gaining the last while. And as with the triathlon training, it is very, very important to me that I don't disintegrate, as I said earlier, into absolutely fresh air. So frequency, trying to keep up the volume, frequency and intensity is there, more so focusing on compounds, a lot of supersets as well. Like in one area there, you see the shoulder press with the dumbbell, hammer curls, and again, that's just a time consumption thing. Just try and get everything working and preserve this fucking muscle tissue. We swam, or we did a triathlon yesterday. I tell a lie, it was only the bike and the run portion of it. We went for a swim afterwards. But in regards to a full-on back-to-back sport, we did a 20k bike, and no, I tell a lie again, it was like a 17k bike up and back, and then we did a 5k run coming in at around 105. I'll give the little details here in a second. Not fucking bad. After a week of being sick, I was on the fucking bed there all last week. I'd imagine it's COVID, but ultimately you don't really have COVID unless you take a COVID test. And I didn't take a COVID test, so probably didn't have COVID, or maybe I did. But very happy with the performance. Body's feeling nice today. So again, the full bodies are just kind of to keep things going. I don't really want to have like a leg day and then try and get on the bike and absolutely shatter myself on the lower half. So keeping it flowing, keeping it moving. Gonna get these check-ins done. Gonna suck these fucking back in a second. And I just want to say it's nice to be back. Oh, I really enjoyed vlogging today. I missed it, to be honest with you. And I just want to end with, if there's any sort of value that I can bring in regards to any sort of thing that's like health and fitness, as look, I know there's a lot of people doing it out there, but quite frankly it can get quite blurry, all this kind of information. So if there's any sort of procedures, strategies, any sort of insight that you want my opinion on, or any just kind of value that I can provide to the vlog, because ultimately if we're going to be bringing just kind of documentation of like random shit that I'm doing, I would like to increase the amount of value that I'm going to provide for you guys for actually spending a little bit of time on the channel. So if there's any sort of value, or if there's any sort of topic, or if there's anything specific that you want, DM me on Instagram or drop a comment, and I will be sure to get around to you, help you out either personally or throw it in the vlog, and keep it moving. So it's been a pleasure to be back. Just want to say appreciate all the new subscribers on the YouTube shorts. If this is the first time you're watching, big ups to you lot. I think I've grown about 150, almost 200 subscribers on shorts alone. You fucking legends. Until next time, boys.
Friends go, it was simple. When the end's low, switch the tempo. When my friends go, it was simple. When the end's low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. go down, bet I strike. I go hard day and night.